All right, welcome back to another episode of the Podium Pusher podcast. As always, my name is Justin. I'm here with Brandon. Today, we're going to be talking about our top 5 races and venues that we are most looking forward to in the 2024 Formula One season. Brandon, how you doing today?
Doing great. I'm excited to record this podcast. The season's getting closer, and I think we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. So I'm really excited.
Well, we're going to start it off with a rapid news segment, and with us talking about tracks, I think a great place to start is with Madrid 2026, another street circuit on the calendar. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to be cool. From what I've seen, it's going to incorporate some street circuit and some like non-street parts. That'll be really interesting. And they're kind of talking about it being one of the most accessible races and venues for people to get to because it is roughly like a 5-minute walk, they're saying, from the international airport in Madrid. So that's kind of cool. And with it being kind of in the city, that'll be, a great place for people to be able to get to it. And it's going to be a great atmosphere around the race too. And so they've got it from 2026, and I believe it's a 10-year contract. So it's a great thing for Formula One. And I think it'll be a fun race to watch.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people dunk on it on social media comments, obviously, but it's like they did when Vegas was announced and Saudi was announced and all these things. And it's like, it's just the way Formula One is moving in the direction of having more street tracks, which is sad in a way of like, yeah, we are losing some classic tracks, like not having Hockenheim on the calendar or tracks like that. But I mean, the Vegas race was good, and just because it's a street circuit doesn't mean that the track can't be good. So I mean, at least give it a shot before we shoot it down. Formula One's all of our favorite sports for a reason. So at least be excited about something happening in the future before you decide to be negative about it. Now we've got 2 contract extensions to talk about, Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. What do we think about those 2 drivers signing contract extensions into the foreseeable future?
Didn't really come as much of a surprise for either of those drivers, to me at least. Those guys have been with their respective teams for quite a long time, and for both of them, pretty much their entire Formula One careers, except for Charles started out at Sauber for a year before jumping up to the works team at Ferrari. But they both have great relationships with their teams, and at least right now, I think when I think of McLaren, I think of Lando Norris. When I think of Ferrari, I think of Charles Leclerc. So I think it makes sense for them to extend their contracts. But yeah, how do you feel about it?
I feel good. I think it's great for Formula One to have those drivers establish brands with their team. I think that is just great for the sport as a whole and recognizability around the globe. I think having those major names within the sports, teams and drivers being associated with each other for long periods of time is really good for the sport. And I also think that for the drivers, I mean, they didn't really have anywhere else that they could have gone, especially with McLaren on an upward trajectory and really looking like they're going to solidify themselves in those top 4 teams. I mean, anything that those drivers could take right now besides going to Red Bull would be a sideways step at best. So there's nowhere for them to go. They're embedded within a team. They're both number 1 drivers in those teams, probably having, a larger amount of influence on the cars and things like that than their teammates. And so I think great moves for both of them. Makes sense. No reason that they would look elsewhere. So good moves for them. Last piece of news we have to talk about the new team on the grid this year. I mean, technically there's multiple new names happening, and we thought that our old Steak F1 team was going to be the worst name we're going to have to deal with this year, but it's got a contender. Visa Cash App, RB. I've seen a lot of people upset about this online. Brandon, are you one of those people?
I don't know. I think it's there could have been a lot of better names chosen. To me, it kind of sounds like they sold the naming rights to Visa and Cash App, and Visa and Cash App are like, well, I guess we can just call it ours, but I think it's exciting to kind of switch things up a little bit. There's been a lot of continuity in Formula One in the past, 2-3 years, and welcoming a new team is gonna be fun. I think they've got 2 solid drivers, and I think the car is gonna be great this year. Expecting a lot from V Carb or whatever they will be called. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be fun to watch, and of course, always a huge fan of Daniel Ricciardo and anything he does. So gotta support him.
Yeah, I think people are overreacting about it online. Like, obviously, it's not the best name in the world, but I mean, realistically, you're not going to be focused on the name of the team simply that much. You're going to be focused on how the car performs and how the drivers do in that car. And I think that this is going to be a step up for that team. And then just with everything that they put online and on social media, I'm confident that the car is going to be good, that they're going to be putting out good content that us as fans get to engage with and enjoy engaging with. So I think people are overreacting probably a little bit. Like, I know I like the color combinations of the AlphaTauri livery, but it was nowhere near as cool as the Toro Rosso livery. And this past year, the AlphaTauri livery was all over the place with the weird orange flex box things on the side, and then the red on the halo and the wheel covers. It wasn't a great livery, and so I'm confident with this change in blue to a blue that is closer to what the Toro Rosso blue was will be nice. And then I think the Red Bull logo being featured prominently, and I think the way that Visa and Cash App will be integrated into the team livery as title sponsors will probably be nice as well. I think the livery is going to look better this year. The team's going to perform better this year. Give them a break, guys. It's going to be better than we think. All right, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, we're kind of running into a theme here of things being announced and people bashing them on social media before they actually happen. So I think we got to just give everybody a shot here, let it play out a little bit, and then we can talk about it later. It's not so great, but gotta let it play out.
With that, we're probably going to get bashed on social media for these opinions, but that is what it is. Now we've got that out of the way. Everyone's all caught up on Formula One news. We're talking about our top 5 races that we're looking forward to this year. We're going to go 5 to 1. We've maybe even got an honorable mention thrown in there. What is your 5th place race that you're most looking forward to this year?
My 5th place race is one that hasn't happened in a long time, but it is the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm really excited for this race because I haven't necessarily been, able to watch the Chinese Grand Prix yet as a true dedicated, devoted fan of Formula One. I've gone back and watched a couple of the previous Chinese Grand Prix, especially the one that Daniel Ricciardo won. That one kind of sticks out in my mind, but it's a really cool track. They've got like a 270-degree turn on the Chinese Grand Prix, and it'll be awesome to see Guan Yu Zhou have a home race, and I can't wait to see the environment that him racing in his home country brings. I think there's a lot of Formula One fans in China, and they'll be very excited to see him race in person, so that'll be really cool.
Yeah, I think the Chinese Grand Prix is going to be great. I'm going to save my thoughts on it because I may or may not have it on my top 5 later. My 5th place is the Japanese Grand Prix. So sticking in the same region of the country or of the world, but different country. I'm excited about the Japanese Grand Prix because it's going to be in a different time this year. It's earlier in the calendar than it's ever been. It's the 4th or 5th race of the year, which means it's not going to be in Japan's rainy season anymore, which is super exciting. I know that Japan has had a nice spot in the calendar. It's wanted to keep it so it could have the chance to be a title decider, which it was 2 years ago, which was super exciting. But just to have a race in Japan where the weekend will not be drastically interrupted by rain will be really exciting. We've seen sessions red flag, sessions canceled, sessions pushed back, all because of rain within the last 5 years. And so I think its new location on the calendar will definitely improve the weekend experience as a whole of the Japanese Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Suzuka is a really special track, and it's one that I know is a favorite of a lot of the drivers. So when it's dry, it's provided really good racing, and it'll be exciting to hopefully see more dry conditions in Suzuka.
All right, 4th place. What do you got?
My 4th place Grand Prix, which maybe not a lot of people are going to agree with this, is the Monaco Grand Prix. I've always loved watching the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a bit of a different animal than most of the other Formula One races. Obviously, the circuit hasn't changed really at all since the inception of the race itself. So with cars changing a lot over the years, the track has stayed the same. So that's kind of made things a little bit difficult, things such as overtaking. But, it's a strategy race. Last year, we had a great qualifying session with Max Verstappen taking pole position from Fernando Alonso by so thin of margins. And that was really exciting. It's always fun to watch qualifying there because it's probably the race that qualifying has the biggest impact on your finishing position for the race. So it's a great weekend, and it's a good strategy battle for the F1 teams to take on. So I really enjoy watching it because of that. So really looking forward to that race this year, and hopefully we'll get to see another exciting qualifying session. And who knows, maybe Fernando Alonso will win the Monaco Grand Prix this year.
Yeah, I love Monaco. I think it's great. Monaco 2018 was the very first Formula One race that I ever watched live, got me into the sport. So definitely holds a special place in my heart. My fourth place is the Qatar Grand Prix. Kind of for similar reasons as Japan, is it gets a different place on the calendar. It's actually moving later in the year. It'll be in December, which is the start of when it gets a little bit cooler in Qatar. So I think that will be nice to get to experience the race in cooler conditions, which means we maybe won't have the mandatory pit stops that we had to have this year. Drivers will be feeling in better conditions. I thought it was a really exciting race last year. The track provided a lot of action. It provided a lot of action in 2021 as well. And so I think to get to see it without the health concerns, without the tire concerns, will, like I said about Japan, just make the weekend experience as a whole better.
Yeah, absolutely. I was excited when I saw that the race was moved a little bit because, there was a lot of concerns just about the driver safety and driver health. Lance Stroll was complaining of passing out mid-turn and then waking up on the straights. So that's kind of scary. Passing out in general is scary, let alone when you're doing 200 miles an hour in a Formula One car. But yeah, I think it'll be a really good race, especially when the drivers are able to just kind of focus more on racing than just making it to the finish line. So it's gonna be awesome.
All right, third place, what do you got?
Third place might be another unpopular opinion, but the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So I'm really looking forward to racing at the Jeddah circuit once again. It'll be our second race of the year this year again. It'll be a Saturday race, which is always fun. And I've really enjoyed the racing there since the inception of the track. It's very unique, has a lot of really, really fast corners. And over the years, it's provided good battles in both qualifying and the race. So I'm really excited to see it. I think that it'll be a good venue to kind of see where everyone's at after Bahrain, after, we get a lot of time at one track and then we get to another track that's very, very different. So it'll kind of give us a good read on where everyone's actually at and how cars are performing overall as opposed to just in Bahrain. So I think the view can kind of get skewed a little bit after everybody's watching all these cars be on the track at one place for so long. But so I'm really looking forward to Saudi Arabia.
Yep, definitely a great track. One that's really fun to drive on the F1 game. Also very difficult to drive on the F1 game. But yeah, I think Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will be great as it usually is. Third place, I've got one you've already mentioned, the Chinese Grand Prix. For similar reasons as you, it's just been a long time since it's been on the calendar. The Shanghai International Circuit it's a great track. The racing that is there has always been great racing. Usually get good racing in the front and in the midfield. There's some strategy thrown in there. Obviously, I have fond memories of going back and seeing Daniel win it in 2018. So maybe that track holds a special place in my heart for that as well. But you brought up something I didn't even think about, was that it will be a home race for a Chinese driver on the track. And I remember back in 2019, Guan Yu was in F2 and they did stuff for him while he was there. It was really cool. And there were like festivities and different things like that. And so I was like, now that he's in F1, it's going to be even bigger, even cooler. And so I think that's going to be great for the fans. It's going to be really exciting that there's going to be a race there. This was supposed to be one, obviously for the last 3 or 4 seasons have been canceled due to COVID there in China. So excited that we get to go back. Part of me is like, I won't fully believe that we're having it until there are cars on track in China. But I think we'll be back this year. I'm excited for it. It should be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race, and I kind of feel the same way about, man, just kind of waiting for the news alert to say the race has been canceled or postponed and then canceled or something. But hopefully everything goes smoothly and we get a good racing weekend in China.
But they cancel it, replace it with like Turkey again. I'll still give it third place. Turkey's a great track too. Second place, I know we've got the same answer, so let's talk about it. What do you got?
We've got the United States Grand Prix. What can we say? It's a race held in the United States. We're both Americans. We're both from Texas. The race itself is held in Texas. We've been to the race twice now. We've spent a full 6 days at the Circuit of the Americas, enjoying all the festivities that COTA and the United States Grand Prix has to offer. And these past 2 years, it has provided fantastic racing, and I think it's going to be a great race. Hopefully, we'll get to be there again in person and enjoy the coolish late October weather in South Texas while we're watching some amazing racing. But yeah, it's a great track. It's a lot of fun. It incorporates a lot of different turns, a lot of fast corners, low corners. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a great environment too.
Yeah, hopefully there's cooler temperatures this year. Temperatures were not cool last year. We were sweating it out in the sun there, but that's all right. But yeah, we have been there the past 2 years. Hopefully we'll be there again this year or in the future to get to see it soon. But even before we started going, I can think back and say there's been really good racing there. 2021, you had the strategic battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton with the pit strategy. I remember sitting in my apartment and watching it and being like, man, this is great. Can't wait till we're there next year. And then being in person just fully lived up to our expectations. Obviously, we have a full podcast talking about our experience at the United States Grand Prix. So if you really want to hear us get in depth about it, you go listen to that. But just as a venue as a whole, just the experience of getting to be there, see the cars on circuit, and just the way that they cater to fans with different experiences that you can have at the track, even when cars aren't on track. It's just really awesome. So the United States Grand Prix, I think it's the best race in America. Maybe I'm biased because we're in the state or we've gotten to go to it, but definitely excited for another year of racing in Circuit of the Americas.
It's a great race. I agree with you to say it's the best race in America for sure. We've got 2 other races competing for that title though, which is kind of crazy. But love getting to the Formula One racing in the United States, multiple venues. It's a great thing, but Austin takes the cake.
It absolutely does. All right, before we reveal our number 1 spot, we've got some honorable mentions that we're going to hand out. What is your honorable mention for the top 5 on this list?
My honorable mention is going to be the British Grand Prix. I really love Silverstone as a circuit. I think a lot of the teams and drivers do as well. It's provided a lot of great action especially the last 3 years, 2021 on. So it's a great race. It's been the venue of a lot of good racing action, and we've had a couple different winners there recently. So it's been really cool. The venue of Carlos Sainz's first F1 win in 2022. So yeah, and the British fan base is great. There's obviously several British drivers on the grid, and the fans always come out and support them really, really well, create a great environment for everybody. So it's a really fun weekend to watch, get to witness. So that's why it is in my honorable mention. I really wanted to put it in my top 5, but I didn't really know where to kind of fit it in. So I had to go with the honorable mention.
And honorable mention is a great spot. No shame in being 6. That's what my mom always told me when I was in elementary school. I'm joking. But, yeah, Silverstone, great track, great environment. My honorable mention was the Monaco Grand Prix. I love Monaco. Like I said, first race I ever watched. I think it's a unique circuit with there being so much emphasis on qualifying. And I think that it gets a bad rap for that, being like, oh, you can't really overtake. There's 23 other races where overtaking happens just fine. Okay, so like enjoy the different experience of Monaco, where there's so much weight placed on a Saturday, because that's the only Saturday you're gonna get to experience that much weight throughout the entire year. And then just it's just so unique, the amount of attention there is from the world on that Grand Prix that it draws to Formula One, the experience of the people in the harbor and the Red Bull Energy Station that's floating and all the celebrities, the glitz, the glamour. Like it's its own unique experience. Monaco is its own really awesome thing. It is for sure my bucket list Grand Prix. And, any Formula One team listening to this that wants us to come hype you up at Monaco, we will don the Haas hats and sit on the pit wall as much as you want us to. But love Monaco. Couldn't fit it into my top five just because the race itself sometimes can be a bit of a procession. I think back to 2019, and that race was rough. So couldn't put it in the top five, but had to give it the honorable mention spot. And yeah, I mean, what else did I say? Monaco, just iconic with Formula One.
It's an amazing track, and there's just a lot of special moments that have happened there. So,
All right, we've been waiting this whole time to reveal our number one tracks and races that we are most looking forward to seeing in the 2024 season. Where do you have at your number one spot?
all right, my number one spot is going to be the Australian Grand Prix. I remember last year watching the race. It was a fantastic race. And then up at the end, kind of had big crash and red flag that kind of, I don't know, made things very weird, strange. But I'm really looking forward to getting a full great race. Albert Park is a great track, and they've made some good changes over the last couple of years to make racing and overtaking even better. And I think Australia is a really cool place. It's produced a couple of really cool racing drivers that are now both on the grid, and it'll be really exciting to see them both race there. So I'm really looking forward to the Australian Grand Prix. I know Daniel Ricciardo and Oscar Piastri are too. So it'll be a good one, and it's always fun to get to watch a race in the United States that starts at midnight. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I love the Australian Grand Prix. I missed when it was the first race of the season. Like I love that it's somewhere else now, and Bahrain is the first race of the season, but they don't throw the kind of party at Bahrain like they did in Australia. So I missed that being the first race of the season. I think it's gonna be awesome with Daniel and Oscar both on the grid for the Australian Grand Prix. Hopefully both in competitive cars. I think it'd be cool to see them both score some points in their home race. That'd be super cool. I know Daniel Ricciardo's had a lot of bad luck in his home race, so if he just whip that RB19 to a podium, that'd be sweet. But we'll see. But yeah, Australia, great track. Excited for another year of the Australian Grand Prix. My first place, I've got your honorable mention, the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Just something about it. Obviously, there's so much rich history at Silverstone and the British Grand Prix with Formula One. And so I can feel that through the TV screen every time we're there. Just the heritage of the sport being there. I think it's a great track. The drivers love it. The fans love it. And I really think that they do a really good job of the production there. I don't know if it's where they put the mics, but like every turn you hear a move, you can hear the crowd through your TV. And that's not the case with every race that you watch on TV. But, especially if it's, I think back to Lando Norris having pole for like 35 seconds last year and just the roar from the crowd. And then you could hear the collective groan when Max Verstappen went over the line and took P1 from him. And then the cheers of the crowd when Lando took the lead of the race. Like just the experience that you can feel at Silverstone through your TV screen is crazy. Always produces good racing. 2020, you've got Lewis Hamilton coming across the line on 3 tires. 2021, you had the incident and Lewis chasing down Charles to get the win. Carlos Sainz's first win. You get a lot of good racing at Silverstone. Incredible history. You've got the chance for rain to be thrown in there when you might not expect it, but it's never like too much rain to cause a red flag or anything like that. So just a great track overall. Produces great racing. A lot of awesome history, and I just love getting to watch the British Grand Prix.
Another cool thing is that a lot of the Formula One teams are based in Great Britain. So it's usually like a big race for like upgrades as well. So there's always a little bit of mystery thrown in there. Somebody's bringing an upgrade. Is it going to actually work? Is it going to make them worse than the weekend before? Is it going to make them better? We don't know. We've seen both things happen multiple times, but yeah, it's a great race.
And that is where McLaren really turned the corner in 2023. So it's a good point. Didn't even think of that. But that wraps up our top 5 lists of tracks we're excited to see in 2024. Obviously, we are excited for all 24 races on the calendar. We'll be here making predictions and recapping all the things that are happening in Formula One in 2024, whether it be on track or off track. Brandon, what are your parting podium thoughts for the people before we head on out?
Parting podium thoughts. Just that we're getting closer. We're getting closer. February 5th. Officially, we have all the teams have announced when they're going to do their car launches or livery launches. So we've got them starting on the 5th, ending on the 15th, and then we got another 6 days before testing starts. So things are getting closer. What is today? The 26th. So we got about 10 days to the first livery launch, and then from there things will start to move faster. Things will start to pick up, and we'll have cars on track before we know it. So things are getting closer. Things are getting more exciting. I can't wait. It's going to be a great season.
I could be completely wrong about this, but I thought Haas announced that they were February 2nd, so we're even closer than we thought.
Are they?
Did I misread that? Yeah, here's the very first Google on the Podium Pusher podcast. Haas car launch date. Let's see what we got. Oh man, here we go. Haas 2024 car launch date. Yeah, February 2nd. So we're even closer than we thought.
Okay, interesting. I don't know. I must have missed that. I thought they were not on the 2nd. But yeah, even closer. So that's great. We've got a week essentially till the first car launch. So hopefully Haas can have a cool livery. They've kind of had a very similar livery to themselves over the last since the existence of the team. Just kidding. But yeah, so exciting stuff. Going to be a good season.
New team principal, maybe new livery, new sponsors. We don't know. All will be revealed on February 2nd. But as always, thank you guys so much for listening to the Podium Pusher podcast. We're excited to continue bringing you more content throughout the 2024 Formula One season and beyond. You guys are the best. Brandon, as usual, been a pleasure. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and we will talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Later.